Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Comedy, more comedy. But I use the word artist because that's exactly what we got in studio today. Welcome no other than the legend himself, Mr. Comedy, Mr. Entertainment himself, the one, the only Uncle Fred. Welcome to the show, big guy.
Too much, Andre. You're my niece's favorite phrase, and you've made me feel so at home. I'm gonna say it because I just found out that I shouldn't be saying it, but you're doing too much. Because I had to ask her, is that? You know, we in this culture now.
Yeah,
is that their culture? Should I be saying that as a straight man?
Yeah.
And I'm not identifying as a straight man.
Right.
I'm a straight man. Like, you know, should I? And she said, Uncle Fred, I like it because you say it because I say it. You know, I was like, you know, but I have been really, I don't know, blessed because I've only been doing this a little over a year.
You only been doing comedy for a little over a year?
I've been doing comedy all my life. Let my mother tell it. And she transitioned in 2020.
Okay.
And I started doing comedy about a year after that. She's never seen me on stage, but I believe she sees me on stage.
Okay.
Because I remember all the times I was a great student, good student, but I class clown. Those class clown notes.
Isn't it funny how all comedians say they were the class clown?
Yeah.
What did you do that was considered a class clown? Now
I'm into dogs, and so I bark. You know, so you know, I mean, and I remember the first dog. Of course, my voice wasn't where it is now, and I'd be like, arr, arr, arr. And you know, and you do it in a classroom.
It's funny as hell.
And if the teacher's not, you don't know where it came from.
Right.
And when I realized that she could turn around and not have any idea where that bark came from, and then when I did get busted, the whole world, you've been the one.
When they told your mom what happened when you went home.
My mother was in tune with the brain.
Okay.
First, she taught school.
Okay.
So she was more talk first before she, you know, I mean, I grew up in that family. Now she would, as in the church, she would lay hands. My mama was the first two-piece I ever felt.
Right.
You know, when she originated, I was like, whoa. My mama had a two-piece. I didn't know until I was 13, 14 years old, and you know, looked at her in a type of way where she deemed that look wasn't respectful. Mm-hmm. And I realized mama had a two-piece. But with that, I started doing comedy as therapy.
Right. When you say therapy, what do you mean as therapy? Well, was there some type of trauma or something? Because therapy is a big word. So can you break that down a little bit when you say I had to use it as...
We've only got 30 minutes.
We got time. It's the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Subscribe, like, share. I can be funny too.
My mother's everything.
Okay.
You know, and I don't even know what's right. When I say everything, I mean, like, I stand on DNA.
Okay.
We're in a area of life, in a culture, in a time frame where everybody's leaning towards anything. Ideology is like crazy out here.
Right.
I've born and raised Christian. Come from for far as I can remember back, Christianity. I don't subscribe to that. To each his own. Right. But in my leaving it no more than 8-10 years ago, and looking at my mother who gave her whole life to it.
Right.
Which is fine.
Right.
Which is fine. But me looking at it from the perspective of what's really, it's like, what's that, taxation without representation.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, and I bought it. I mean, I was there. I mean, I'm an ordained minister, ordained deacon. I've carried on a bunch of choir president, acting adjutant to the pastor. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff in the church. Leader of the General Assembly, Sunday school president. I mean, my career in the church, I carried every position outside of probably pastor.
Right.
But at the end of the day, looking at it in my studies, and hold on, let me say this. I don't subscribe to backsliding. I don't subscribe to, I forgot you did this whole show. I did not get possessed by some demonic spirit. We in this camera, right? Mm-hmm. I want to make sure I want to make sure. Hold on, watch this. This is for the Christian world. Jesus is Lord. And in your own book, they say that a demon can't utter that. So back to you. You don't have a demon in your on your show or anything. So my cousin, but I'd have said that I either couldn't have or not have worded it, or I would have, yeah, you'd have ran up out of here.
Right.
So with that, it was me against me. I was actually in a study. I was in a preparation for a sermon I was about to preach. And an argument took place in my head.
Wow.
The minister and the nerd. And now people want to talk all the time about, outside enemies and influences and spirits and stuff, but no, you.
Right.
We've all transitioned in our lives. I'm a retired man. I've worked, I did 6 years at Valley Total Fitness. I did 2 years at Citibank, and I did 20 plus years at McDonald's.
Wow.
As a GM. So I've done all that. But at the end of the day, I also was that guy in the streets. I mean, I've been on the block with a block sling a rock. I've been, so when you look back over the decades, I'll be 60 in 2 years. So when you look back over your transitions from every 10-year span, and you see who you've been and who you are, you're still all those people. So I was a nerd in a lot of those. So when I hear this nerd in an argument with this preacher trying to, this isn't the devil, it's not the boogeyman trying to drag me from church. No, I'm in a conversation in my own head because I found a discrepancy in the book. So the short of it is the nerd won and I left church.
Wow.
Didn't nobody drag me out of that. I had some contradictions. I didn't have to go. I didn't go to the pastor with it. I didn't.
And then you found comedy, which helped you with your therapy.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
My mother left here, and well, let's get to that. So when this is deep. When I was leaving church,
right, I'm
meditating in church. So meaning I had brought meditation into my life in church. I was in church, and I'd stop eating fried foods. I'd stop eating red meat. I'd stopped eating pastas and white foods and things of this nature. And then fast forward to where I am now, I didn't even realize that I was waking up my body. I was cleansing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you eat different, you think
almost
different.
like a silent medification.
Yeah. Because when you eat different, you think different because your body is a machine. It's like your car. If it requires a 93 octane and you're putting 87 in it, stop putting 87 in and start doing the 93 and watch how different the car runs. Bodies are the same way.
When it started running different, what was the signs that made you notice?
What you mean, the headaches or the cold sweats or the waking up in
I think you just answered my question. Yeah, you was going through all that.
And then I realized that this thing that I'm in might have me brainwashed. I'm in something that's bigger and deeper than I even imagined when I'm in my own. Now, Andre, my close circle understands and knows this story. I have not, now the whole world, I just spoke to. I did not know that somewhere inside, like, of course, I was a child coming up in this thing.
Right.
I didn't question it. My mama and daddy did it, so I did it.
Right.
I ain't question it. But when I started reading outside of the church and when I started reading books that were just, these are good books. I want to read it, Mm-hmm. And now my mind is like, okay, I must start meditating. It says it works. And when I started meditating and I'm like looking at all these different personality types, like, oh, that's me. That's that idiot to be getting me in trouble. I fired him.
Wow.
I don't want to start preaching here because now I'm making connections in the Bible as I'm waking up. Oh, this is crucifying the man daily. So then I meditate, and then I see myself. It's almost like a board of directors meeting, and it's all me. It's me over here and me over here.
Now you have to reevaluate all the people that you gave a position to in your life.
And look for the strong man.
Because
I need the strong man up front. He needs to be running things. And right now,
where was the strong man in this? How far back was he?
Oh, he wasn't. Hold on. Watch this. You know, you're strong. Let me help you out. The strong man is the quiet voice.
The one that was talking to you
all the time. He's always there. When you're in your life, when you're saying, "Man, I started the first mind, that first thought." That's the strong man. He's always there. When everybody has had that experience where you're like, man, I started my first mind. Man, I should have. That is the strong man always speaking. So the more you empower him, the more you start gravitating to that first voice, that first notion. Now the strong man getting stronger. Now you're putting closer to the driver's seat. And before you know it, you didn't evolve to a beast out here. So now let's get to the stage. I've got a friend. I'm going to shout out to Larryville, Coupe de Ville. Woo! My boy. Been doing it since I was 14 years old. He's been doing comedy forever. He was in movies with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Anthony Hopkins 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Anthony Hopkins is by far, one of the greatest actors I've ever seen.
We got a buddy.
He's almost like what you just. You know what's so funny? It's funny you're talking about metification. He does that. He talks about it. Anthony Hopkins talks about it all the time. Projecting, envision, empowering, speaking. When you learned this, I like the fact that you're here. When you learned this, because I don't get many people sitting in a chair that can talk this universal language. You saw your career, you saw the different board of directors. What was the difference in change once that universal connection happened to you? What was different when you brought to the stage?
People started celebrating me, and I didn't think I was worthy.
Get out of here.
And when I looked at the fact that, okay, the route back to church, because public speaking is public speaking.
Right.
Like I said, I've been a minister, a deacon. I've preached and taught in rooms, in big crowds. So the biggest thing about stand-up comedy, as I realized, and I'm watching, because I always stay for the whole show. I'm gonna stay watching everybody.
Right.
I watch everybody for you people to tip out. So in that, I see that person that's funny, and I can tell that I can feel the funny in his joke. He has no delivery. He's nervous. He's stuttering. He does not have public speaking perfected. When I first stepped on stage, I had public speaking perfected.
Wow.
And so I think it sort of made me, I don't want to say better than everyone else, but I don't have that hurdle that you're dealing with on stage that I see, because I know how to connect with the audience. I know how to let the church say amen.
Amen.
Let the church say amen again. Amen. You know, so so I brought all that to the stage with me.
Right.
Like, this is pretty well.
How do people perceive it? Your third eye is awakening. Let's call it what it is. Your third eye is woken.
Yeah.
How do you see the people perceiving the new universal comedy empowerment? Damn, did I just say that?
I'm sitting there watching like, put that on a t-shirt. It's mixed. I guess the best way to describe it is those who accept it are more open
and can feel they can feel the energy.
Yes.
Those that don't can get a little bit of the what you call the shock, like what just happened.
Yeah.
And well, he's trying to tell me something.
And Uncle Fred is just Uncle Fred on still with family. I tell my family first off, whoa, why are you getting Uncle Fred on stage confused with the Uncle Fred that you know and love?
Right.
They're two different people. They're two different people. I tell people the only reason I think I accompanied Uncle Fred on stage is because I'm in tune with my family. And I've got great nieces and nephews that are 3 and 4 and 5 years old. And when they say Uncle Fred, I don't care what's happening in my day.
It just makes
everything's better.
Yeah.
Everything's better. And so in my neighborhood, the neighborhood I'm living in right now, shout out to the Baja Nation, 40th and Boulevard. I don't believe I just did that.
You just did.
But in my neighborhood, Butler, Tarkington, for those of you who
that's
aren't
a nice area who don't know the area.
For those of you who don't know, it's Butler, Tarkington.
Yeah.
Yes, Butler, Tarkington.
I love that area.
It's a beautiful area. Hello, black people, come buy some homes in my neighborhood. Because they're ginger. Yeah, we're not going to do that. You come buy some homes in my neighborhood. I live in a beautiful neighborhood, 40th and Boulevard. Anyway, so with that, I'm sorry, where was I at? You didn't name me.
You was talking about the how the people resonate to
Uncle Fred. I've got love in the streets. I'm almost 60, and I live in a neighborhood where if you're not careful at my age, you become a victim. And I think, firstly, I check young people. You're not going to disrespect me. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm that old man. I'm that old guy. I don't use the word old. You're
an educated man that's been
and I'll let them know real quick.
Yeah.
I've never asked you for a cigarette or a dollar. Don't talk to me like I'm one of them.
Right.
And when I say hello, when I say what's happening, and I'm on my porch or on my sidewalk and you're getting my vehicle and you walking by, I don't need all that hair rolling and all that, no, stop. And acknowledge me because I'm acknowledging you, and I do it. And they speak to me, I stop what I'm doing to acknowledge these younger generations in front of us because they matter.
What do you think is happening to, you're 60 years old, and I think generations need to know, and I talk to my kids about this. I've been where you're going. I made mistakes. I learned from them. I found myself a little overprotective a lot of times. But what do you see that's different with 60 years of experience, and how do you bring that 60 years of experience onto the stage? That's a lot of talent. I got you, didn't I?
Life? Yeah, well, I like that. Because it opens up on stage. I really want us to see America and who we are. So back to Uncle Fred. Uncle Fred is Uncle Sam.
Okay.
All of my jokes are pretty much almost connected to something in the political world.
People can't relate to that because
they're connected to government.
It may be connected to government, but people need to realize you got 60 years of experience with different type of governments, different presidents in a 60-year span, different wars in a 60-year span, different human involvements in 60 years that's now being played out in a humorous manner through a guy who's seen it, awakening into a new universal self-conscious and bringing that humor to the stage. That's crazy. Did I get it right?
It's not easy. I like the way you did that. And it's not easy because
how do you? Yeah, it can't be easy. How do you do it to make those people understand?
I know them people watching your show, so I love America. I am American. Let's just get that out the way. But we're just jacked up.
Yeah,
like we're jacked up. Like America, our country meddles. Our country is in everybody's business. America is either screwing someone are being screwed. She's a whore. And so when I'm on stage, I love this. And I wish Miss Ruth. I'm gonna have to give Miss Ruth just because I mentioned her name. Miss Ruth gets her haircut. She's an older lady with a short haircut. Gets her haircut in the barbershop with me. She's 70-ish, 70, older than me, much older, at least 10 years older than me. And she was, how you doing? It was a dog whisperer. I train dogs, dog whisperer, this and the other. And she says to me, what do I do, or something like that? And I said, I'm an entertainer. I was actually speaking about this. We missed our appointment yesterday. I did this.
But you did it today.
I had to get this, all straightened out because I knew, So anyway, I hit her with one of my jokes because it's a senior citizen joke. I love you, Miss Ruth. She high-fived me. She was laughing so hard.
Really?
Because I have a joke about sleeping with senior citizens. I got a girlfriend named Rosemary and Thelma and Bessie. And I mess with them. I tell people, I sleep with Bessie because she make a mean cobbler, but I ain't gonna spend the night because I don't want that old to get on me. And so people sometimes think it's funny, but see, right now we're in a situation where the government is screwing senior citizens out of their money.
Yeah.
So if the government's screwing them, why can't Uncle Fred? And so that's who I embody, because I look at the government like we're in a bad situation here. And my grandfather said, in life, I'm gonna save that for that positive thing you're gonna do. I watch your show.
Thank you.
Yeah, that positive. I gotta leave you something positive. You gonna do that to me? I gotta leave something positive.
I get everybody with it.
Granddaddy, R.I.P. I'm gonna leave your statement for later. All right. So, and then I flip it with young girls. I've got a whole joke where I talk about dating 18 to 19-year-olds.
I gotta hear. Don't tell her here. They gotta come to the show to hear that one. What do you think needs to happen? You got experience. I'm never gonna say somebody is old. I always say you have experience. What needs to change? You can be real. What needs to be changed?
You mean? What do you mean? As far as the fix, the big fix?
The big fix, yeah. We all over the world. You guys are doing something great. I like the fact that you guys are getting ready to do this Flavor Friday to make people laugh. But nobody's really laughing anymore throughout this world. You got people killing. You got people getting kidnapped. You got, the list goes on. What do you think the solution is?
It's always been the short version, the short answer. It's always been family. At first, there was attack on the black man. They won that battle. The black man lost. Now, when you look at things, there's an attack on the black woman. She's just as ratchet and as trifling as the black man now. So, without the family unit, everything collapses. Because as a man, I'm going to check everything in my house. And if everything is checked in my house, then that means everything is checked in my yard. That means everything's checked in my reach, my field of reach. And if my neighbor in the front, the back, the left, or right of me are doing the same thing, you see this field of reach now. Mm-hmm. So now we've developed neighborhoods and communities that are dealing with things properly from a family nucleus. The spiritual world don't want to deal with the real strength is mom, dad, child. That's the Holy Trinity.
Love.
You can't break what me and this woman I love, and now we done both duplicate copies. That's all you're doing, making babies. Copies of we got 2 or 3 copies of ourselves running around in here, and all we're doing is pouring into them our dream, and we keeping this thing tight. There's nothing stronger than that. And now they've taken it away. That's the short. It's shattered. We got the. And I'm the wrong man to say this because I love the woman I'm with at that particular time.
Right.
I had to say that. But at the end of the day, because I've been married twice, I'm never doing it again.
Right.
But you need to bring the families together. There's always going to be single men like me running around here. But at the end of the day, the numbers have to outweigh when you versus men and women running around independently upon themselves doing their own thing, opposed to that matchup of mom, dad, and a house building something together. That right there will overshadow everything. That's the big fix. Now, when you talk globally, we got to put more women in power.
That's a different topic.
Yeah, you see, you the man. You know, so I was like, see, we gonna mess with that today. We gonna mess with that today. Yeah, different topic.
On a lighter note, why comedy for you? Because clearly you have so many qualifications. But why comedy? Why you still doing comedy? You left the corporate world. You left this. You left that. You got the third eye open. You got the universal harmony. But you're still performing because you're going to perform this on November the 3rd.
Why comedy? Why open mic? You know what? Mark Zuckerberg, you are not my daddy. So that's what brought me here. You can't say nothing on Facebook without going to jail. I mean, you know, they censoring everything. And so my cousin, a cousin of mine, she was like, you know, she was enjoying some food somewhere. You got to come out to this open mic. You be talking about you don't want it, you can't say nothing. I could. For 5 minutes, I could say whatever I want, and no one could say. So, back to Uncle Fred. Uncle Fred is entertaining, thought-provoking, sometimes funny. Uncle Fred is entertaining, thought-provoking, sometimes funny. I'm funny, but I like to get that entertainment. I mean, I'm dropping stuff on you, man. I'm dropping stuff to make you scratch your head. I've walked off stage and people are just, this true story. I walked off stage and a dude's, Uncle Fred started, and they're cracking up. They had just got a joke. They said, man, I'm drunk. My wife had drunk. We've been running that joke, right? Man, you wrong. That's funny. No, you wrong. I'm going to make you see America for what she really is. In a joke.
What was one of the jokes, before we wrap up, what was one of the jokes that you might have done that still sticks in your mind that was, just like you said, that left somebody going, wow. And then when they caught it, they was like, holy shit. You know what? You're right.
Not going to tell the joke, I'll tell the premise.
Good.
I have jokes about sleeping with handicapped women.
Oh, my God. I'm glad I got a front row seat.
I've got jokes about sleeping with handicapped women. And if you don't like it, then why are you discriminating? Because everybody's equal. I mean, she might not be equal when it comes to limbs.
That's deep.
But she's intellectually equal, so let her make her decisions. You know, so yeah.
How do you come up with your material? Because when you have so much experience in your repertoire, how do you know what you're going to actually say that won't offend? Because you come at a comedy at an artist level of communication that clearly, if I'm there, I'm listening for something that make me laugh. But now you're coming at it from a whole different comedy stand. You're coming at it from comedy, but comedy where you got to use your brain.
All of the great comedians, I believe, have been that way. Like, I believe that this is an art form to where if you're expressing yourself, then bring some real content. Like, firstly, and I'm not knocking anyone that does what I'm about to speak on, but I'll never make fun of my audience. I will never I'm not going to pick on anybody in the audience. I'm not going to call you out for what you've got on, or that's just not my form of comedy. Mm-hmm. I've done that. I did that in the 80s in the lunchroom.
Mm. Tell me before we wrap up about why you want to do the event November the 3rd. You can be honest.
We talked about that on the phone. Okay, so you know that answer. Okay, well, okay,
I know the answer.
Okay,
they don't know the answer.
I was like, okay. I've never been to Crackers.
Okay.
I've been doing comedy about a year this past July, just past June. I've never been to Helium. I started in a dive, and I'm not going to mention it's not open anymore. I started in a dive. The ceilings the towels need to be changed. The floor was sticky sometimes. It was black owned and operated. I moved from there to another black owned and operated spot. I went from there to another. I moved around in the black community, and I'm going to stay in the black community. And when I heard about this spot down here and they were doing it, I'm there. Because if I stay right here in Indianapolis and never make more than $1,000 a year, I'll be fine because I'm doing this for therapy. But
if people had been watching the show from the start, I get the comment. They would have got that because that's what you said to begin with. I like that.
But at the end of the day, if I become great, if my name starts ringing bells all across the globe, you're going to come see me right here. You're going to come see me where I'm at. You're going to come see me at Uncle Willie's, Uncle John's, Big Mama's, wherever I'm at in the hood. You better come see me because I'm not going where y'all are.
How can the viewers reach out to you?
Uncle Fred is on Facebook. You can reach me on Facebook at Uncle Fred Said. That's the name of my page, Uncle Fred Said. Because if you're too scared to say it, tell them Uncle Fred said it. And so check me out on Uncle Fred Said, and I'm on Instagram 2020 Changed One, and that right there rings bells in with me because I lost my mother in 2020, and it changed me in ways that I could come hear my journey.
I like that.
Really,
you know what? I'm gonna have you come back and you're gonna go deeper into that journey because I know there's a lot of stories, a lot of experience locked down in there. Leave the viewers with something positive. You know I was coming.
My grandfather said this to me. I need another 90 seconds.
You got 90 seconds. Go.
I'm gonna patent my training. I've been meaning to put my training on. My grandfather was the greatest dog trainer to ever live. AAA obedience schools right here in Indianapolis set at 3760. I think that was your 37. Right there at Crew Car Wash. Right there where that building sat. Right there. I used to stand on that corner all the time. I was raised in a dog school. Right now you can also find me at the Bartlett Academy. That's another page of mine on Facebook. But anyway, Bartlett Academy of Animal Achievement. I've been training dogs all of my life. My grandfather used to say this to me since I was 9-10 years old. I could hear him say, boy. That's how he talked. I was a man. My grandfather was such a man over me. When I was a man, he's like, boy, and I'd be like, yes, sir. Yes, I mean, I just responded.
That's how you responded, yeah.
I just he just was still superior to me. He was over me. And so I'd say, yes, sir. And he's like, boy, life gonna happen. Life gonna happen. And you gonna do two things. You gonna laugh about it or you gonna cry about it. But what you gonna do is keep moving forward. I can hear him saying it, man, I'm not gonna get emotional on your show. Love that man. And he said those words to me, and everything I do, one thing I'm gonna do is keep moving forward. And right now, I laugh about it. Come check out Uncle Fred. I ain't gonna get emotional on this show, man. Bring him out. I can feel the spirit of my loved ones in here. Boy, I'm about to come back. I'm about to come back and see you, man.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Woodford.
It's both. It's both. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the one, the only, Mr. Entertainment himself, Uncle Fred. Make sure you come out to the good spot. November the 3rd, 8 p.m. Come in there, listen to his journey. We're definitely going to have you back on the show, man. I appreciate you coming here. I feel what you're saying. Trust me. Those with that enlightenment should be able to feel it. But you're going to feel it more when you come there. Make sure you're there. Get your tickets in advance. The good spot, Indianapolis, Indiana, November the 3rd. Give a nice round of applause to the one, the only, Uncle Fred's on the Andre The Beast Crayton show.